When did open world games start getting judged by how many buildings you can go in? When did that become a metric? I've seen people hypothesize it with GTA 6. I remember it being a big part of Cyberpunk's discourse. I remember people complaining about it with both Spider-Man games, and now I see it happening with Pokemon Legends ZA. Why do we need to go in all the buildings? What are you hoping to find in there? Gamers will play a game that takes place mostly outdoors and be like, I don't feel safe. Please let me in the nearest building. I don't like being outside. Touch grass applies in game too. There are plenty of legitimate reasons to complain about Pokemon ZA, but whenever games get mass criticized, some people will just invent nonsense to add to the dog pile, and it's like, nah, you can't sneak that bullshit in there. It hypes up a ranking system and then skips half of it for story purposes. A lot of the side missions are repetitive and boring. Yeah, and I can't open this door. Who the fuck cares, man? Not all doors are meant to be opened. The content is outside, but there should be more content inside. There's enough content outside, trust me. It's not like there's no buildings you ever go in, but what's the difference between a Pokemon battle outside and one inside, you know? But they did convert some previous inside things to now outside things, like Pokemon centers are now these street corner offices with the walls blown out, and functionally that is just straight up better. No door to open, no loading screen however quick, you just walk under an awning and ask one of the multiracial Nurse Joys to heal your team of placeholders until you figure out what you actually want to use. That's another thing that was going around Twitter. This guy wrote a hate post with a screenshot of his game, and in the corner, his team was a level 18 Croconon, like 3 different Kakuna, and people were trying to be like, no wonder you hate the game with a team like that. Like, dude, half the game is built around catching trash repeatedly to increase your research level and get TMs. Anyone who played the game, or Legends Arceus for that matter, should clearly know that that dude is grinding research levels, or just catching whatever until he finds some real Pokemon. The same guy made a new post after he finished the game and still hated it, and a quote tweet from someone else got nearly 50,000 likes for just showing that first screenshot of his team. Like, this is his team, by the way. Are you fucking stupid? Do you think he rolled credits with a level 18 Crocona and a Kakuna squad? Do you have adult supervision? Now, because I am incidentally defending a hater, it may sound like I am a hater myself, but I think ZA's biggest crime is just that it gets stale after a while, but like not long enough of a while for a game like this. I think there's good things about it. The opening hours of exploration, especially after you visit the detective agency like 40 minutes in and get subsequent free reign of the city, are very exciting, and I made a point of cherishing the discovery as I was doing it. But it's a small city, and it doesn't take that long to explore all of it. As you progress the main missions, more wild zones pop up with different Pokemon in them, but they'll be like half a block in square footage, and you can go in there and catch every Pokemon in them in like 5 minutes every time. The people who are really gonna get their $70 money's worth from this game are the ones who like to shiny hunt or draw immense satisfaction from completing a Pokedex, or just fawn over how passable the performance finally is if you're playing on Switch 2. It does look great for a recent Pokemon game, and I'm not just talking about Emma. I'll have more thoughts in my review that I'll do after I finish the game. I'm rank C now, so I still have a bit to go. 2025 isn't over yet, but the end is fast approaching, and a lot of games that still don't have solid release dates are going to be implicated in 2026, so I wanted to talk about what I'm excited for as far as 2026's overall potential is concerned. I just watched an IGN preview of a game I forgot existed but has immediately shot up to the upper echelons of my notice, and that's Phantom Blade Zero. Seriously, if you're into Soulsy stuff at all, this is what absolute peak looks like. The combat seems incredible, with tons of different moves and flourishes and weapon styles, and watching gameplay of it is mesmerizing. This game is like the antithesis of Wuchang. If you watched my What Makes a Good Souls-like episode of this series, Phantom Blade Zero feels like the counterpoint. It's early to make such bold claims, but I'm tentatively confident this is going to be a top 3 experience in the genre. There's no release date yet, so barring an late 2025 emergence, it's going to be one of next year's juggernauts. Speaking of Souls-likes, we might as well get them all out of the way. So we just learned from the last PlayStation showcase that Code Vein 2 is coming out in January. Now, the original Code Vein was conceptually solid, but sort of lacking in the gameplay department. I mean, the debut of anime Souls as a subgenre should have been spectacular, but we had to wait till first Berserker Kazan to get any real mileage out of it, and that only kind of counts anyway. So there's a hope that Code Vein 2 will improve on its foundations and make things less clunky, but how likely that is anyone's guess. It is kind of the same situation as the Lords of the Fallen sequel that also got announced, but that studio's track record is worse, so I've already written that shit off. The only cope is that with enough practice, they might eventually learn how to make a good game, and they've certainly had plenty of chances. The Lords of the Fallen sequel looked sick, but so did trailers of the last one, and then we got the rug pulled out from under us as soon as the controller was in our hands. Feel is more important than looks when it comes to gameplay-heavy genres, whether it's platforming, action, combat, racing, shooters. It's all about the feel. Something can have all this spectacle in the world, and then you play it, and it's clunky, stiff bullshit. Remember Lost Soul Aside? That game that was originally by a solo Chinese developer that we waited like almost a decade for, that looked stylishly evocative of Final Fantasy and visually blew us away. And then it came out and sucked in every other respect, and people immediately forgot about it. Gameplay is king. I'll get into arguments with people about what's better, Hollow Knight or Silksong, and to me it's Silksong all day long, because you objectively can't argue that the moment-to-moment gameplay isn't better with all the new movement and abilities and fighting styles, but then some people are like, well, there's less build variety and that's just not as fun to me. But I'm like, are you seeing this gameplay? The added flexibility and precision of sprinting alone, even sans everything else, to me elevates the gameplay beyond anything the first game is capable of, especially in traversal, which is obvious, but in combat too. The weaving that occurs as you dance around your enemies in ways the first Hollow Knight simply doesn't allow, that's worth more to me than it is to some other people, I guess. Some people just don't put as much stock into certain aspects that I do, and that's where a lot of differences can lie. But yeah, the other Souls-like coming early in 2026 is Nioh 3, and I haven't really decided after playing Nioh 1 and 2 and Wolong Fallen Dynasty and Rise of Ronin if I am or am not over this particular subgenre of Souls-like, this super fast-paced samurai kind with all the exclusive trappings that only these games have that makes them feel distinct. First Berserker Kazan was definitely a Nioh-like, and I liked that a decent amount, so maybe Nioh 3 will be a triumphant return to the original series that spawned its own copycats, especially since Nioh 2 is still a top 3 Souls-like of all time. The Switch 2 is going to see some light at the end of this barren tunnel, with Mario Tennis Fever and Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave coming out. Those are definite day one buys for me. If From Software's random-ass co-op Souls exclusive The Duskbloods does come out in 2026, I'm just going to wait for it to come to PlayStation because there's no way it won't. Yoshi and the Mysterious Book gives me Princess Peach Showtime vibes. It looks like it might also be for literal toddlers, so I don't care about that, but that's just an early feeling. Speaking of feelings, I have one that Pokopia, Pokemon's Animal Crossing clone, is going to be really bare bones and bare minimum, but it'll still probably be just fun enough to get sucked into for a while. Animal Crossing is one of those subgenre catalysts to me that I feel like other games of its ilk just do a better job. Like, you know those games that are the premier game of their type, and whatever tries to do what they do afterwards gets called a clone, but then it turns out the clones are iterating on the formula in ways that surpass the original, and then future installments of the original don't take the iterations of its clones into account, and it ends up feeling dated as a result. I've talked about feeling that way with Metroidvanias, like Metroid Dread is the latest installment in the franchise that spawned half the Metroidvania moniker, and even games that came out long before Dread, like Hollow Knight or Ori, just blow it out of the water in regard to exploration and gameplay, the two most important parts of a Metroidvania. In Animal Crossing's case, I feel like Disney Dreamlight Valley in particular just ate its whole ass lunch. It's not even that Dreamlight Valley is amazing, it's pretty substandard in terms of presentation and general effort, but there's so much more to work towards in it, and there's way less time-gated content, so there's way more to do per day. It has stronger hooks. Now, Dreamlight Valley came out after New Horizons, so Animal Crossing hasn't had a chance to answer back yet, but I don't think it'll change the formula to become binge-worthy, and I just don't see it improving all that much. It's weird because I don't think this genre has made the most of its potential at all. I think we're miles away from peak village crafting and friendship-building systems. I don't have immediate ideas about how to improve everything, but I think we have a long way to go to reach perfection. I'm just not a loyalist. Some people are ride or die for whatever the original game or franchise of a subgenre is. Like, maybe they think no Souls-like could ever beat a Dark Souls game, or no farming thing could ever surpass Stardew Valley. I have no nostalgic allegiances. I see clones run circles around the source material all the time. Stuff I've talked about before, like Immortals Phoenix Rising, beating the pants off Breath of the Wild, the aforementioned Disney Dreamlight Valley. I like Ball Pit more than Vampire Survivors, which was another trendsetter. Pow World trolling the hell out of Pokemon lately. Hell, the biggest game of all time is a PUBG clone that got sued by them. Tomb Raider was a PS1 franchise, then PS3 introduces basically a male Tomb Raider in the form of Nathan Drake in Uncharted, becomes a huge success, then Tomb Raider turns around, starts making Uncharted clones, and they never get talked about ever. Uncharted just straight up buried Tomb Raider, and Tomb Raider released its last main game 2 years after Uncharted's last main game, and it still made no difference. If Tomb Raider came out with a new game now, people would still be like, damn, I wish they'd make a new Uncharted. Okay, that was a big tangent. I don't know much else about Switch 2 stuff happening next year besides re-releases of already re-released games, and then more Switch 2 editions wanting extra money for adding features nobody asked for. Other 2026 games I've got my eye on include Mugenics, the tactical cat roguelike from the Binding of Isaac dev, Resident Evil Requiem and Slay the Spire 2 because of course, the James Bond 007 game from the Hitman devs looks amazing after watching that gameplay deep dive they did, like a combination of Hitman and Uncharted. I'm still trying to play Judas, the spiritual successor to Bioshock, and Insomniac's Wolverine is a given. A quick update on the games I'm currently playing. I'm 24 hours deeper into Ghost of Yote, and I'm having a terrific time. This game is so fun. The combat is such a fucking blast. The ability to pick up fallen weapons and chuck them at enemies for one-shot kills is the most satisfying shit imaginable, and I don't even have the gun yet, so I know it's going to get even better somehow. I platinumed Ball Pit, and I don't think my video properly showcases how good and deep it is. There's like 15 different characters, all with their own abilities, and like halfway through the game you construct a building that lets you use two characters at once and combine their abilities. It's a game changer. I got Power Wash Simulator 2, and that blows the first game out of the highly pressurized water. There's more interactable elements to make jobs more interesting. They added cooler, more satisfying tools, and they made soap broken. It's amazing, but it's been having multiplayer issues, so that sucks. Otherwise, we don't have much more to look forward to this year, barring any new announcements, so the rest of 2025 is going to be spent catching up on what I haven't played that I need to. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can like, share, and subscribe. Watch all my other videos while nestled up close to your albino body pillow, and I'll see you guys next time.